Okay, so we would start with reading the citation of all the speakers that are meant to be here. So we have four speakers. We have Mr. Maiwa Salami, who's a partner of financial advisory and strategy, Anderson in Nigeria. We have Mr. Taiwo Kuye, he's a senior manager, advisory services, KPMG West Africa. We have Mr. Idris Aindin, who's the head of technical accounting at checkout.com. And we have Mr. Abdulaziz Koranga, he's a regional economics West Africa in the Standard Bank Group. So we have the citation of Mr. Abdulaziz Koranga. He's a versatile investment professional with over 7 years experience and currently works as regional economics for West Africa at Standard Bank Group, a role he has held since November 2023. He collects and analyzes key West African macroeconomic data, including Nigeria and Senegal, utilizing the forecast generated to derive tradable fixed income and currency trading strategies. Before joining Standard Bank, Abdulaziz worked as a macroeconomic strategist at Quadro Securities Limited, Lagos, Nigeria, where he oversaw the Sub-Saharan Africa macroeconomic desk. His thematic research and insights provided valuable views on his coverage countries, helping clients make informed decisions through his data-driven insights. Abdulaziz is a Bloomberg recognized leading forecaster of macroeconomic variables across SSA countries. He was Nigeria's most accurate inflation forecaster from 2020 to 2023. Sorry, please, I have to admit somebody in. From 2020 to 2023 with 93% forecast accuracy. Aside this, he was also ranked as Bloomberg's top GDP forecaster for Ghana in Q4 of 2020. Abdulaziz is a recipient of the prestigious Johannesburg Stock Exchange SPI Awards as the best macroeconomic research team in Africa 2024 and 2025. He has shared his insights on the key African economies and currency markets on different platforms, including Forbes, Bloomberg, CNBC Africa, The Africa Report, Arise News Media, Channels Television, Business Day, and Vanguard. Abdulaziz holds a BSc in Economics from the University of Ilorin and an MSc Economics with distinction from the University of Lagos. Please kindly welcome Mr. Abdulaziz Koranga. Let's drop our emojis. Let's react. Our second speaker on the call is Mr. Idris Ainde, FCA CFA. Idris Ainde is an experienced chartered accountant and CFA charter holder with over 13 years of experience in technical accounting, finance transformation, quantitative finance, treasury, and risk management. He currently leads the technical accounting team responsible for the group accounting policy and financial reporting at checkout.com in London. He's committed to making an impact that matters through self-development, continuous learning, coaching, and working with diverse and experienced team members with the hope of adding value to his team and organization. He has worked on projects spanning across areas such as IFRS conversion, advisory and training, financial reporting automation, business combination, share-based payment, hedge accounting, financial instrument accounting, and valuation and credit risk modeling and review. While in Deloitte, he was part of the founding team members of the Actuarial and Quantitative Solutions subunit in Deloitte, Nigeria. He led some financial instruments valuations projects, including valuation of swaps, forwards, options. At PwC, he was involved in a number of IFRS 9 implementation and review for clients in the financial sector and corporates with subsidiaries across various countries in Africa. He developed an IFRS 9 simplified model for receivables as part of the project, and he very much enjoyed the traveling parts. He also worked on capital markets projects, including a research on the impact on debt guarantee on infrastructure finance availability. At KPMG, he helps clients in financial services industry with technical accounting issues on different accounting topics, including IFRS 9, IFRS 3, IFRS 5, IFRS 9, IFRS 10, 11, 15, 16, IS 32, 39. Um, okay. At EY, he led several edge accounting projects and supported clients with various technical accounting advisory, including cryptocurrency accounting, M&A transactions, IFRS 2, 15, 16, and 3. He has facilitated a number of IFRS, financial instruments, and edge accounting trainings. And when he's not at work, he's either participating in a volunteer course, reading legal fiction, swimming, or playing table tennis. Please welcome Mr. Idris Ainde. Wow, this is a very, 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 very impressive citation. Then our third speaker is Mr. Maiwa
Assalamu alaikum. Can you
Salami.
hear me?
Yeah, walaikum salam. We can hear you, sir. Welcome. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So our third speaker is Mr. Maiwa Salami. Samaiwa is a partner of financial advisory and strategy at Anderson in Nigeria. He has over 14 years of extensive experience in mergers and acquisitions, corporate finance, financial modeling, project finance, due diligence, business restructuring, and capital fundraising. Maiwa began his professional services career at one of the Big Fours, where he rose to the position of manager in deals advisory practice. During his time, he led the execution of several high-profile mandates for clients across key sectors, including infrastructure and public utilities, power, telecommunications, manufacturing, and oil and gas. Prior to joining Anderson, Maiwa served as Vice President, Corporate Finance at Alpha African Advisory and Assistant Vice President at United Capital Investment Banking, where he was responsible for structured trade finance, project finance, and financial advisory engagement. Maiwa is a versatile and dedicated professional with experience across multiple competency areas. He has collaborated with multidisciplinary teams comprising middle and senior management across various organizations to successfully deliver complex engagements and achieve overall project objectives. He holds a BSc in accounting and first class honors from Babcock University and an MSc in finance and accounting from Cardiff Business School. He's also a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Please welcome Mr. Maiwa Salami.
Assalamu alaikum. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, for our last speaker, we have Mr. Taiwo Kuye, FCA. Abdulkabir Taiwo Kuye is a seasoned finance professional with over a decade of experience in providing strategic financial advisory across multiple sectors, including financial services, consumer markets, oil and gas, and telecommunications. As a senior manager at KPMG West Africa, he has led numerous projects that empower businesses to build sustainable financial structures, enhance reporting accuracy, and achieve growth through sound financial practices. He's a fellow of both ICANN and IIFP. He holds a BSc in accounting from the University of Lagos after his ND and HND in accounting from Lagos State Polytechnic. He's currently running his MBA program at the Unilag Business School. Please welcome Mr. Taiwo Kuye. Okay, so this webinar it's be like a panel session, right? And there will be, so based on the way I've structured the questions, there are going to be general questions at the beginning where all the speakers would answer, right? Then before we move to the personalized questions. So for the general questions, the way it's going to be answered will be, we'll start with Mr. Abdulaziz, then we move to Mr. Idris, then we move to Mr. Maiwa, then we move to Mr. Taiwo. So once I ask the question one, the four of them will answer, then we'll move to the question two like that. Then before we now move to the personalized questions. Okay, so it is time to start. Okay, give me a minute. How would I do this? Okay, so for the general questions, let's start. So if you were a fresh graduate today, what would be the first three things you would do to break into your field? So let's start with Mr. Abdulaziz, then we go like that. So Mr. Abdulaziz, please, you have the floor to answer the first question.
No. Well, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, 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 I can hear you.
Okay. So it seems your voice went a bit lower at some point.
Oh,
So I don't know if I'm the only one.
can you hear me?
But I can hear you currently.
Okay. Did you hear the question?
So that's the first one.
Yes, if you're a
So I'll
fresh
be taking
graduate
that.
today.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum salam.
It's a big pleasure to be here. And so since I'm starting first, if I were a graduate today, so unfortunately for me, I studied, okay, so maybe by when I studied in the University of Ilorin, so we're not really the kind that really knows about internship opportunities, and maybe because in Unilag, in UI, OAU, that strong alumni network was always there. And in Unilag also, you have these companies that you can always partner with. So those of us in Unilag back then, maybe goals will be to become a lecturer after school, civil servants, and so on and so forth. But I'm outside school now. I've seen the way everything is, and it will be to the first, and will be to after school, try as much as possible to look for internship opportunities. That's very important. And as economists, unlike equity research analyst, fixed income analyst, where you build financial models and the likes. So for an economist, before you really start, um, or before you start building models, people really want to know if you actually know your stuff, if you actually know things, and from where you will be starting, your starting point will actually be in terms of writing. So not just writing for writing's sake, but giving insights into anything that you feel um, you have solid foundation on. So for instance, in school, they teach you about inflation, they teach you about GDP, interest rates, and so on. So you can go on from maybe MPC sitting and for their normal monthly policy meeting. So you talk about their decisions, what their decisions mean, and so on, like that. So writing, having internship opportunities, and also joining organizations. So in schools today, we have ISEC, we have finance clubs, we have even economics clubs. So as much as you're also reading, try as much as possible to connect with people, and you can do that by joining organizations. So joining these organizations even gives you access to people that are already in the field. So when you are in class alone, will not give you access, but as you are joining these organizations, you're able to build relationships with people that are actually outside the field, and from there, and you can embark on maybe mentorship opportunities. You get opportunities for internships, and you also learn more outside of the class, outside of classes, and there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, the next speaker will be Mr. Idris Ainde. If you're a fresh graduate today, what will be the first three things you do to break into your field?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Nalimota, and it's a pleasure to be speaking with you all this afternoon. From personal experience, I would say one, you need to which is what Abdulaziz has mentioned, you need to start sort of like targeting some high value experience, and I will talk from like personal experience when I immediately finished my university project. I think it was in October, just end of that month. Immediately, I started an internship opportunity in an accounting firm on the island at that point in time. The salary I was offered, if I'm not mistaken, was like 25,000, but that was like the start of like my internship experience. And then when I was um doing my NYSC, which would lead me to my second point, would be prioritizing relevant professional qualifications and um sort of like test preparation. So during my NYSC period, I was writing my ICANN exams and I was preparing for jobs and test interview with various firms. So you would have like the likes of like GMAT, SHL, and the likes which you can practice with. So that's my second point is also prioritize professional certifications or required tests for for entry level jobs. And then lastly, the third point would be like a strategic networking as well. And again, this would largely be influenced by the type of network that you've built during your time at university. And I'll speak from personal experience. The first internship that I got was with one of the speakers that came to speak at an accounting event whilst I was at the university. And then when I finished my NYSE, whilst I was still searching for jobs, I interned at PwC. What that took was emailing a partner at PwC who I also met during my time at Unilag, doing some of the accounting week session. I sort of sent an email to him, and in like 1 or 2 months, I got an internship opportunity at PwC. So one is the strategic networking. That's the point when you now want to start leveraging on the network that you've built over time. And then, you want to sort of target high value experience, and you also want to, at the same time, prioritize like maybe any professional qualifications that will be relevant for you. For people that you're clear on in terms of what you would like to do, career-wise, like, oh, you want to do auditing, you want to do financial reporting, or you to be like an accountant in a company, it's clear that you need an accounting qualifications. And there is no right time to start that, just immediately after that point. And the professional qualification is quite important because what gave me my opportunity to start at Deloitte was because I had my ICANN. So I've written the first test and then the second test. And the day of the second test, the HR manager conducting the test just asked everyone that, how many of you guys are qualified? And it was just me. It was even a day after my ICANN results. And he just asked me to wait. And that same day, I actually went to I went to Deloitte to take a second test, but actually on that same day I was asked to take interviews. So I took 2 interviews on that same day. Now, when I was preparing for my ICANN exams during surveys, I was also like preparing for interviews, reading all the tests. So I was already like prepared for interview. I was even dressed in suit to write a test. People would normally go like in jeans or Ankara for, to write, but regardless, I was dressed in suit, and I was able to do an interview that same day as well. I would just pause here, and then if there are other questions, I would answer.
Okay, thank you. That was a very interesting story. Thank you for that. Okay, so the next person answering will be Samayawa. If you're a fresh graduate today, what will be the first 3 things you do to break into your field?
Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for having me here. I think, to be honest, I was really enjoying Mr. Idris and this storyline, and as he was talking, I was reflecting a lot as to, having almost very similar background as well. And Alimat, as I think you could also recall, because I saw you smiling, there's something that Idris also mentioned, right, which is trying to explore the current relationship and network that you have, which is very, very correct. When I resumed at partner at Anderson, I can't count the number of emails I've gotten from people requesting and seeking for internship. Those I know, those I don't know. And I think 1 or 2 people on this call right now got their jobs just because of the emails that came along, trying to take advantage of that relationship and the network that you've built over the years. But if I were to speak personally, I think waiting to becoming a graduate, I think you may want to take some steps back even before becoming a graduate to understand what you want to do, in terms of your career and how you want to grow in your career, right? Right, for me, interestingly, I don't think I've always been an accounting person right from the get-go. My secondary school days was more of commercial, maybe arts, with some flair of sciences. It was when I got into Babcock, I went to Babcock University, that I actually had my first accounting course, right? And thankfully for the relationship and the network and the mentorship that I had, I was advised to start taking my ICANN exams immediately. So I was among the very few people that started with ATS. I don't know if everybody knows ATS. So before ATS, you start your PE classes, right? And I did all of that during my Babcock days. None of my summer was, I never went home during the summer break. I was back in school writing ICANN exams. It's about, knowing very well what you intend to do, then having the resources and the people around you to guide you as well. And I think the last thing is the mentorship. Nobody's an island on his own. You need to know what people have done. You need to seek those high valued clients, high valued people, and understand what it takes to break into that field so that you are very that come to me as, what do you intend to do when you want to break into this field? Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Maiwa. We'll move to the next speaker, which is Mr. Taiwo. Hi, Mr. Taiwo. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Please, can you hear me?
What? Confirm you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, but it's low a bit.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes, I think I can. Okay, so the question was, if you're a fresh graduate today, what would be the first 3 things you do to break into your field?
Sorry, take that again.
If you are a fresh graduate today, what would be the first 3 things you would do to break into your field?
Okay, all right, thank you very much. And I think it aligns pretty much with what Mr. Maiwa and Mr. Idris have said. These are my 2 bosses in the profession. It's nice to have you, see you guys here again. I think pretty much what I did, I didn't have straight direct entry into the Big Four like Maiwa and Idris did, but I went through the polytechnic route. So I did ND, HND. But what I did differently when I started my ND, of course, like everybody out there, wanted to get a BSc, directly. But then, as fate will have it, I got the polytechnic route. So what I did, I remember my dad, coming to pick me up that evening and said we need to get somewhere. So he went all the way to Wise at Maryland, but the person wanted to see that day was not there. Before I then later found out there was another one in Surrey at Safe, which is the ATS route that Maya just mentioned. So as I started the OND, I also then started the ATS scheme, which was pretty much setting me up for the professional stage, the PE stage for ICANN. So if I have to reflect and give you the first advice, if you're in this profession, if you want to be in this career, in this accounting, finance related economics too career, I think going through the ATS route, if you can afford it, whilst in school, should be something you should look forward to do. So professional exams, yes, I would advise that you should start professional exams. Secondly, skill sets. I finished school how many years? 13 years ago. We do not have the amount of exposure that's out there today, the kind of AI enablement and AI support things that we have today. We do not have it back then. So if I'm a graduate of today, I think another thing I would advise is to begin to upskill yourself in terms of technology. How is technology able to assist you to do your work? So ensure that whatever skill is relevant, is it how to use PowerPoint, how to make presentation, both the hard and the soft skills, how to use Excel. Can't even take that away. Excel is like a bio these days. So how to use Excel, how to write. Writing skills is quite very important because you write as an advisor, you write lots of documentation. You write to consultants, you write to clients, you write to pitch opportunities and all that. So you write emails. When I joined the firm, one thing that my manager was always doing was to first vet and review my emails before I send them out. So writing skill is quite important. And lastly, if you have the opportunity, internship, as an undergraduate or a graduate awaiting NYSC, internship is another It's another opportunity that gives you that kind of confidence that you may not have acquired going into normal interview. For example, you intern in a big four or intern anywhere in another accounting firm, you're already, in that work mode, already presenting reports or assisting to write reports, sitting in meetings where the big guys, are. So that kind of gives you some level of confidence. When you come out of school and you want to then begin to do your assessment centers and interviews, there's a level of confidence that you demonstrate or you display at those assessment centers that you wouldn't have been able to get while reading the books in school. So those are the three things I would mention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. That was a very insightful response from everybody. Then the next question will be, what is the most underrated way to build a professional network? Because if you're on social media and everybody says, oh, don't be friends with your coworkers are not your friends. So how is someone meant to like build a professional network in the corporate space? So we'll start with Mr. Abdulaziz.
So I think what I typically do is because okay, so from personal experience, I sit in Stanbic IBTC, Nigeria. So, but the interaction is always with the SA guys, so the guys that are sitting in South Africa. And so we used to have heads of African regions, head of all the investment banking team across the globe. So what I typically do is when we have reports out there, maybe on exchange rates, that is particularly interested for some of these clients. So what we do is just as soon as I publish this report, so I just send to maybe one of them that I've been willing to at least interact with, that how please let me check out this report. What are the things that you think your clients are actually saying based on your interactions that you think we should also add to this report? So that's in that case, you're actually at the end of the day giving them something to talk to you about. So not really sending messages such as hello, hi. So what do you actually want me to respond to with good afternoon and so on? So just go direct with your questions, and you have anything so that you know that this person is actually a pro in the field. This person has more experience than you. So once you are doing anything, you write anything, you have anything in mind, send to them. Tell them that during their free hours or free time, they should help you to review. They will actually provide valuable feedback for you, because those are the kind of things that they want to be to be seen. And in some other cases, just go check up on them. So maybe you see one is already traveling. So ask about the traveling experiences and what are the things that any experiences related to that travel. In such cases, this person will also know that, okay, this person, aside bringing in the work team, is also interested in knowing how I'm faring with regards to the kind of pressures that you are getting in the job. So at the end of the day, find something for them to want to interact with you in. So something that even aside personal relationship, professionally, what are these people? What are they good at? So you do something, you ask for their opinion on such things that they are good at, and at the end of the day, you see that they always want to interact with you. So this has worked for me. So at least I'm professionally in my current role.
Okay, thank you. That's a very interesting one. Okay, so for the next speaker, that will be Mr. Idris Ainde. So what's the most underrated way to build a professional network?
Yeah, out of the fear of not being repetitive as well, it's just like the common networking sort of skills you could, and it also depend on how you're networking as well. Networking is always is a three-way angle. There could be upward networking, right? There could be, I don't want to say downward networking, but the other direction, and then you could also network at your level as well. So, and for each of those level of networking, you do not approach them the same way. All right. Um, and if you think about sort of networking upward, you want to be like someone that is not like a burden to people. I get several like emails, messages, DMs about, oh, your career is fascinating. I want to mentor you. I can't mentor everyone at the same time. But what I find quite helpful and which is always makes the networking relationship for a lot of people is mentees that they probably done in terms of their own primary assignment, like their research, and maybe they're stuck within like making a specific decision, and then you can reach out to a mentor that can offer like a quick advice for you as well. But to even gain that sort of like level of access as well, you want to maybe strike a relationship with the mentor, and this could happen in various ways. It could be one, if it's someone maybe that sort of like write publicly as well, you might be maybe providing comments or dropping message to the person that, oh, I saw this thing you wrote and it's quite insightful, this is what I think, and then you move on. At those initial stage, you necessarily do not ask for you to be mentored. But one thing is you would create a footprint in that person's mind that by the time you come later on, it's easy for the person to quickly remember, oh, I remember you, this guy, you actually spoke to me about something previous time as well. That's one. The second thing is, again, also finding a bit of common ground with people, particularly if it's like in your professional career as well. If someone writes about financial instrument or someone writes about deals as well, it might just be something you want to maybe read about or something you learn about, and you use that as an entry point that, oh, you actually wrote something about this some time ago, but this is what I thought about it. I'm looking at doing something in this line. What do you think? Sort of, creating that sort of like common ground is very important. If you're meeting people physically as well, and if it's someone that you want to strike a relationship with as well, it also quite help as well to try and establish that common ground as well. I've moved companies, and even countries as well across a number of time, and when done like lots of interviews as well, one thing that generally works fine that makes like interviews seamless as well, which is the same thing as networking, is wherever it is that you're meeting, establish a common ground. Like, exactly try and understand like what does this person like. It might even be something outside work. I'll give you a very good example. There was an interview I did like not quite long ago, and I just looked out like my interviewer on LinkedIn as well. I would normally just Google my interviewer's name, and whatever comes up, I just picked it. So I saw that my interviewer um did like a marathon and the person raised fund for a charity. I was like, great. I recently did like a swim marathon, which is the swimming equivalent of a marathon. And I raised fund for a charity as well in that process. So I started my interview like they were just like doing initial introduction. I just find a way to chip that in and the person was like, oh, that's impressive. But it creates that you've already eased that tension. The same thing with networking as well is you want to think about what is that common ground that this person is known for. It might, and in some instances, it might exactly not be entirely work related. It might be something that is their interest, out of work. I've seen some people that have interacted with people that they like traveling, or they like skydiving, or they like swimming. Like, you just find like a specific common ground, and then that helps to break the ice to start that relationship. For like at your level, networking at your level, I think is really around shared interests and opportunities, right? If you really want to like get access to people at your level as well, you need to also provide value to them. So it might be maybe someone that you regularly share opportunities with as well, maybe things that you can do, but that will be good for them. What would happen is that when such opportunity arises, which they can do, or even if it's something they can do, but there's more opportunity, they're going to share that with you as well. So that's networking at your level. And the downward part is around as well, providing some bit of support to people as well. Because what would normally happen is that when they also have opportunity as well, because of what the help you've provided to them, they would always, remember you, and things would come naturally as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. So Mr. Abdulaziz has to leave by 1, so we would pause on the general questions for now and quickly move on to the section, then we would come back so that Mr. Maiwa and Mr. Taiwo can answer this question. So let's ask Mr. Abdulaziz his own personal questions, then we can move forward. So Mr. Abdulaziz is an economics, right? And for someone like me, I also studied economics in UI, and I've seen that a lot of us, my classmates, my seniors, they end up like going into accounting and finance, right? So what would you say to encourage people that are studying economics, stay in the field and build careers within it? Like, what would you say to us? Because I don't know, maybe we just didn't like the way we were taught in school and we didn't want to further it. Just, okay, let's enter accounting or finance. So, Mr. Abdulaziz, what would you say to people who are studying economics right now that, okay, people should actually come and build your career in economics?
Okay. So I think in general, even in my set, I think we were up to 200 in my set. Those of us currently practicing as normal economists today, we are just about 5 or 6 out of 200. So it's natural. And I believe one of the reasons for that is because, you're in an era where everybody is going for one professional certificate or the other. Unfortunately for us as economists, we don't really have any professional certificates. And even recognized bodies as economists, we have, but they are really, I don't know if I would say they are usually really not recognized like that, because they will tell you that even if you put 10 economists together in a single room, that they should make a decision, they will never come up with one solution. So the solutions will always be different. So perhaps that's one of the reasons why you are really not seeing economics organizations really thriving in such cases. But because a lot of us that study economics, we are not really practicing, and it has created a whole lot of opportunities for those of us in the field currently. So in financial services firms in Nigeria, all of us that are working as economists, we all have a general group. So we are at least the one at the last count, we are just about 12, 13. So we typically switch roles within each other. So companies are looking for economists, but we don't really have much people in that field. So we command significant amount of premium. So again, you go back to your secondary school economics, supply of labor, demand for labor. So that supply is very limited. So we typically command high premium compared with other professionals, because even if I'm leaving today, I have someone that I can recommend already like that. So what can I say for you to stay in the field is that the supply is very limited today. Trust me, if you as an economist and let's say an equity research analyst today, you are in the same company today, that company will value you more as an economist, because they know that if you leave, they don't really have a replacement for you today. So again, that's also provided that you know your stuff. So you are able to command higher premium compared with your other peers. So I think, again, everybody will want to work, but at least that monetary value also is very important to us. So I can say in terms of the monetary value, you get more compared to your peers. So how then do you start that? Again, for an economist, we write more, right? And people tend to see that you actually know something when they can be able to read through your thoughts. So, and for you to be able to write more, you need to be able to know things. And for you to be able to know things, you need to read widely. So everything that we are being taught in our university days, they are very, very useful in our career today. It's just that you need to be linking them to whatever is going on around you. So there are things around, we talk about monetary policy and so on and so forth in school. Today, you have monetary policy committee. They make decisions, maybe 3 months, once in every 3 months. They talk about things around corridor, around the monetary policy rates, cash reserve ratio, so that those are the practical aspects of it. if we have any separate session on economics properly, I can be able to take you through all this. But to encourage you, the supply is currently limited, but the demand is very high. So you command significance and premium. And maybe just go for your advanced degrees also. Continue with your ICANN, your ACS just by the side. But for an economics, we don't really have professional certificates, but just go for advanced degrees. So I didn't really do my master's until 2024. So by 2024, I already had about how many years of experience? Maybe 6 years of experience by 2024. So your BSc alone is even okay as an economist. Just that you need to write a whole lot. But for you to be able to write, you need to read very well. Because as you are reading, you know. As you know, you're able to write. And those are the things that will be speaking for you. So when your professional certificate is not there, with your BSc, whatever you've written will be what to be speaking for you in the eyes of your employer. Then by the time they invite you for interviews, you can defend yourselves during the interviews.
Okay, that was a very, very comprehensive response. I think you also kind of answered the question too, where you said, oh, in school, this is just like all this monetary policy stuff, and we can also see the meetings they have like every 3 months and stuff like that. So for the third question, you were Nigeria's most accurate inflation forecaster from 2020 to 2023 with 93% accuracy, and that is very extraordinary. When I read it, I was like, wow. So what does your forecasting process look like, and how do you build that kind of precision? And how does studying economics help you with this particular skill?
Okay. So in school, maybe right from our 300 level days, or maybe 400 in some schools, you are being taught econometrics. That is very, very important for you. So you use tools such as eViews, right? Maybe some may use SPSS, but eViews is very important for us. Even without eViews, your typical Excel, you can actually use Excel to actually forecast. So making use of eViews, they will tell you to build a model, alpha plus beta multiplied by all those your variables and so on. Those are the things that we actually use in this. So you look at the drivers of inflation. What are you expecting for those drivers? And you build that into your number. So almost everything that I'm using today for forecasting, I learned them in 300 level, 300 and 400 level, econometrics. And that is it. That's what we are currently using today for forecasting. Although currently they will tell you that you can also use Python and some other softwares, but eViews, very, very important. Even right before entering any company, I was already using eViews for projects, using it for analysis and so on. So those are the things that we typically use. So sometimes, and with some of these things also, it's garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you input in based on historical data, it will be able to provide you with forecast. But there are times where a shock will be happening presently, that your model will not be able to infuse that particular shock in your model. So for instance, in Nigeria today, you have this US-Iran issue that is currently going on. It is building into higher fuel prices in Nigeria, right? And from higher fuel prices, it is also having spillover impact on transport costs, which is also affecting food prices and your headline inflation generally. If you want to forecast inflation for, let's say, for instance, a month of May, your inflation is taking into account previous inflation numbers. And those previous inflation numbers, they don't really have, they are just numbers. They don't take account of whatever has happened with US, Iran, and the implication on fuel prices. So whatever number you're able to get, it is now based on your own intuitive as an economist that, okay, you are the owner of this model. This is what this thing is giving me. But what additional premium will I be adding to this to reflect whatever is going on currently? So again, your regression analysis is always very important. The relationship between X and Y. If X increases by 100 Naira, by how much or what percentage will Y increase? So if fuel prices increases by 100 Naira, by how much will headline inflation increase? You do all those kind of analysis and you put it into your model and you're able to get numbers. And it's also important, whoever you are also working for is also important. Your kind of boss is also important. Someone that actually gives you the free hand, trusts you to do things. And whenever things go wrong, they can also always defend you, because at the end of the day, you cannot always make 100% right calls. So in a year, you can be making up to 100 calls in a year that this is what we're expecting to happen in a particular year. But just make sure that at least 50%, 60%, your right calls are more than your wrong calls. So as you are doing that, you are building credibility for yourself, and people will be able to be believing whatever you are saying most of the times. But the general conclusion here is that your school, whatever you are studying in school, is very, very important. Whatever they are teaching you in school is very, very important. I've learned EViews since my 300 level, that was 2015 or 2016. So, and it's still that same EViews that I'm also using today. You are smiling. So, hope you still know your EViews by heart. So, because those things, they are very, very important for you. You cannot really escape them if you want to work as an economist.
Wow. Okay, that's very interesting, because for me that studied economics, I didn't really enjoy econometrics. It was just very somehow to me, and seeing that it's really important in the real world, that's like a discovery. So the last question before you leave. So you've been featured on Forbes, Bloomberg, CNBC Africa, and more. So how important is visibility and personal brand building for an economics, and how did you cultivate yours?
Okay. So back then, when I was still very, very hungry, so I was everywhere. You need to see me. You need to know me. You need to know this name. I needed all this. So your first set of visibility will always be coming from whatever you are writing. Nobody will know you at all, at all. It's through what you are writing that people are going to know that who is this person? I really want to know this person. They follow you. So which is very, very, very important. From writing, you can then graduate to speaking, because if you only know something when you can be able to talk, you know something is also when you can also be able to write. And so at your start, even at mid-level, higher level, visibility is very important, because you need people to also know your name. But that visibility will always be coming from, at the start, you have to write. But all these things are also a process. So it's not, maybe you have that goal, that is what you want to become. So you know that in 1 year, this goal, you cannot achieve it. In 1 year, you cannot start talking in 1 year. You cannot start writing in 1 year. So you first of all make sure that a whole lot of time, maybe even out of 100% of the time, maybe at the early stage level, maybe more than 80-90% of your time would even be devoted to reading, listening to people, hearing their opinions. You are using that to be shaping your own opinion. So by the time you graduate towards mid-level, you're already writing, you're already speaking. But the hard work will always come from you taking your time to be able to read, to be able to listen attentively to people in that field, and so on and so forth. So from there, you can graduate to write. And part of the things that will also be helping you is the kind of people you also follow on social media. So those are the kind of things that will be popping up in your field. So for instance, maybe for Mr. Idris now, so I see him that, okay, I like him. I see the kind of opinions that he puts down there on Twitter. I will not stop at following him alone. I know that for someone like Mr. Idris to want to be typing the things that he types on Twitter, he will not really be following, I'm very sorry, he will not really be following the likes of Instagram, Instablog, Yaba Left, all those kind of things. I will go and check his followers. There will be people like him that he follows, people of the same thoughts that he follows. So I will go and follow those kind of people. Out of his followers, I see that maybe there's also another very interesting personality out of his followers. I check his profile, I look at the kind of people that follower also follows. I follow those kind of people. So by the time you do all those, the kind of things that you'll be seeing from your feeds on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, it will always be intellectual conversations. So from there, you are able to learn and you are building your own views. So you watch their YouTube videos, watch their presentations, see the way they write. Those are the things that will be building you. So if you are consuming Yaba Left Online, the way they write is the way you also be writing. If you are consuming a lot of maybe propaganda newspapers, the way they write, the way they think is also the way you also be thinking. So the kind of people you also follow also matters significantly in how your own thoughts will be shaped. And from there, you go on to build your own branding and visibility.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Abdulaziz. I think we've come to the end of your own personalized question and you answered all the questions well. And
I'm really sorry I could not wait.
no problem. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for showing up and for answering us. We really, really appreciate. Okay, so let's move back to the
Thank you for having me.
general questions.
Sorry. Assalamu alaikum. Please, I'm sorry. Where can we find? I'm actually interested in following Mr. Abdulaziz because his journey actually resonates with my interest. So I'm sorry to cut in. Where can we where can we actually find your username on LinkedIn and all that? So I want to start following you immediately. Thank you.
So I don't think he's on the call anymore. I can't see him. But on LinkedIn, his name is Abdulaziz Puranga. Let me show you on my screen.
I literally just followed him on LinkedIn, so I don't think that should be a question here. You should just search his name and you get it on LinkedIn.
The person that asked, can you say it's Abdulaziz Puranga? That's his name on LinkedIn. But I don't know about other social media platforms, but this is him only, Abdulaziz Puranga. But I think he has left the call because he has somewhere to be. Okay, thank you. So we have the last question, the question and the general questions. Okay, what is the most underrated way to build a professional network? I think the next person to answer that was Mr. Mayowa. So please, Mr. Mayowa, please can you answer the question? What's the most underrated way to build a professional network?
All right, thank you so much. Confirm you can still hear me.
Yes.
Okay, great. I think for this one, interestingly, Idris had mentioned some things again, and I think we are kind of thinking alike in majority of our responses. I think the very, very, very first place to start off when you want to build your professional network is largely your peers, those around you. As Idris had mentioned, there are three ways to look at it: those above, those within your circle, and those below you. But I would like to focus largely on those within your circle because these are largely I don't want to say probably age mates or people within the same circle as you are at the moment, either in terms of career, professional life, whatever the case is. So take, for example, in a situation where in a Big Four setting, which I started my career in, one of the Big Four, KPMG, we were about no less than 150 intake in that particular year, right? And across the entire firm. In my unit, which happens to be the deals advisory unit, we're about 20, thereabout. The easiest way to build your professional network is always having a good relationship and more. You can have best relationship with everybody, that is taken for granted, but having some sort of professional and personal relationship is also very important as well. And the reason why I say this is because the truth of the matter is we are all growing together as a community, right? Today, the people that were once analysts in my own set are now CEOs and MDs in different phase of lives, right? So if I need some sort of help or request, I know because I've been keeping this relationship with these people, I can easily reach out to them and say, hey, let's do one or two things together. And that's because I've been keeping that relationship. I've been investing, in building that network as well. Aside your peers, if you have the opportunity of, say, you are going to present to somebody and that person is maybe your boss takes you for a meeting, do not just sit down in meetings and just take notes. I think that's the worst thing that you can ever do to yourself. Be prepared for that meeting, right? Who are the people that you're going to meet? Like Idris mentioned, when you're going for interviews, it's always good to Google the person you're going to, sit with. I do it a lot, a lot. And the reason is because it will help to really find a common ground, and make the conversation very easy. As you will know, you find that the conversation even moves away from technical to less technical conversation, and they would like to know more about you. There was a particular session I had a while back, and the conversation was about how do you, so we're just thinking of how do you make money and save costs. What's the thing that you have done in your life to save costs? And I brought up a situation of when I was importing my car myself, and how I went to Tinkan Island and I was able to clear the car, blah, blah, blah. And that was how the conversation changed. Lo and behold, there's somebody in there that was on shipping in a car and wanted to find out on how to bring it in and all the clearing charges, right? So sometimes it doesn't have to be a lot of technical things. You may just want to find out and research on what is going on in people's lives, as well. And also, what are your hobbies? How does your hobby also translate to other people's hobbies as well? Personally, in my own free time, there are two things I do. I enjoy baking. So most Saturdays and Sunday, you see me, Alima knows me for that. I do that. Today, I intend doing some nice banana bread, just to while away time with the family. Also, I'm into smart home automations. I do a lot of coding. I have some bit of IT background. So you see me writing some bit of Python. So it's not just about the accounting. You need to be versatile. You need to be dynamic. You need to have an open mind to what other people are doing as well. So that helps you to create that common ground and able to speak to people aside talking about economics, aside talking about accounting, just being able to, you are relevant basically in every other thing that is happening in life. And I think it's very important. And that will help you to build the relationship across different phases of life. So for me, it's just about being dynamic, right? And that will help you a long way.
Okay, thank you very much. I really enjoyed your response. Thank you. Okay, so we have Mr. Taiwo to answer what's the most underrated way to build a professional network?
I don't even know if there's anything more to say than what Idris and Kwanga as well as Maiwa has just mentioned, because the experience is the same. In addition to, when Maya mentioned that, at the analyst level, when he joined the firm, their colleagues, all 150 of them. And that's one thing I used to mention to new intakes when I'm privileged to facilitate a session for them. That I tell them that this will be the first and only time that you guys will be in the same room together throughout your stay in this firm. Because you have people from audit, tax, advisory, all in the same training school for the first 6 weeks, 4 weeks of thereabouts, and that they will not have an opportunity again. So this is now the time to keep that relationship. I tell them that, if you sit with somebody today, don't sit with that person tomorrow throughout this onboarding session, because you just need to, you never know when the help can come. And I also tell people when they go to client offices, when you go for audits or advisory work, that in quotes, the Muyiwas of today, with the CEOs of tomorrow, I mean the guys that are the Airwan boys, the analysts, the entry level guys of today, doing this, the system of work before now. That's why you back on that is when you just enter your journey, new place, you're always the Airwan guy. So they call him when you are going to bring this. So that the ones that will become CEOs and MDs and captains of industries tomorrow. So even if you go to client offices, you don't need to burn bridges. Yes, you're going for your audit, face your work, create relationships. By the time you need that relationship, you never can tell. Most jobs that big four firms or other firms get today is really, really down to relationship. Yes, technical expertise is there, but who says what KPMG wants to do, a PwC cannot do, or an EY cannot do, or a Deloitte cannot do, or what a Deloitte can do, a KPMG cannot do. So the reason why most people go with these guys is relationship. Oh, he has done it before. We've had a relationship before and all that. So I think that peer relationships even downward relationship to those that you think are younger guys today. You never can know where you will meet and when you will need them. So it's important when you attend sessions. I think it's important that to create that connection. Another thing is also, aside, because the question may be for someone that has not even started working, right there in school, when you guys go for counseling sessions, academic sessions, you go out to NGM conference, meet people. When you have sessions, say networking sessions, people underrate it a lot. Meet people, exchange contacts. Not necessarily because you feel you want to benefit from that person tomorrow, but you never can know what you learn, from that person. It may not be a direct benefit. It may just be you see on somebody's WhatsApp status, and then you saw something that was beneficial to you. And I would say I'll end it with a personal story of how I got info about KPMG. I had a friend that we were writing accounts together who was studying estate management. I was studying accounting in Lagos State Polytechnic. But we were both writing ATS, and we were already at by the time we finished school, we had already finished our ICANN. So during NYSC, I was posted to Oshogbo. It was posted to Adamawa. It kept trying to relocate back to Southwest, back to Lagos and all that. But after about 6 months, he got relocation to Oshogbo. So by the time he called me and said, you can come and stay at my place. You settled down and all. So he was also then posted to the school I was teaching. And then they said, okay, you will try to move out and find a place. I said, no, just 6 months left to go. In fact, 5 months left to go to NYSC. You don't need to go and rent another place. You can stay with me, for the rest of the 5 months. Lo and behold, he was the one that had a friend at KPMG, who is a partner today. That the friend shared that KPMG wanted to take in chartered accountants that have HND certificates. Typically, they don't take that. That they're testing a system and they wanted HND each other. It was one that saw it, and he usually traveled to Lagos every other because he lectures 1 or 2 persons for ICANN classes on private tutorial. So it was that person I was lecturing. The person shared this on Facebook. Oh, let's apply. By the time he came back to Shobu, said, let's apply. And then we both applied. And then I was invited to write the test. He wasn't invited because they wanted somebody with HND in accounting. He was doing estate management. So he did not get the invite. And I got the invite. And that's how I got to KPMG today. So you can imagine if I had not said stay with me, he may not have remembered that he will share this information with me. Because then I'm not sure WhatsApp was really very, I think it was To Go that was popular. This was 2012. So you just look at the power of peer relationship, and that's what has put me where I am today. I know that God does things in miraculous ways. If he's not the one, I'll get somewhere else. But at least this is a practical example of how I benefited from peer relationship. Thank you.
Yes, I really love that story that you used to end. So we'll go to Mr. Taiwo's personal questions because he has some with. Okay, so Mr. Taiwo is senior manager accounting advisory in KPMG, and when I was in school, I never knew a role like accounting advisory existed, honestly. Why do you manage to say? I was like, oh, yeah, whether do auditing or tax. Like, I never knew there was something called accounting advisory, right? So, Mr. Taiwo, so what does accounting advisory mean in practice? That it is not a role that most students know. And can you break it down? What does like a typical project when you have a new client? What does he feel like? What does it look like from start to finish?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. In bullets, what we do in accounting advisory is we offer accounting advisory services, in quotes, and I'll explain what that means. It's really about in-depth technical accounting, business advisory that we give clients, and some of the services that we do. We have a number of organizations who outsource the accounting and financial reporting, to firms. They don't have in-house. Some have maybe just one person that's related with vendors and customers, but they don't even have an accounting software. They just ship everything to a consultant to do that. So it's called outsourced accounting and financial reporting services, where you assist them to do the day-to-day bookkeeping, the monthly management reports. At the end of the year, you help them prepare the financial statements. You help with audit support. When editors come around and need to ask questions, because you are the one preparing the financial, you are the one answering the questions for them. So we also do lots of technical accounting advice. So companies want accounting opinion, on wide range of accounting issues, maybe business combinations, they're trying to acquire a new entity, or two sister entities want to merge, something around, consolidation, concession arrangements. There's a new standard out there. If a thing is out now, come and tell us the impact assessment, all of those things. We do that under technical accounting advice. We also do what we call financial reporting process advisory, where we assist clients to redesign their accounting departments or accounting units. We help them relook, what their finance function looks like, benchmark key takings, leading practices, or what the bigger guys are doing, and then find a way to domesticate it for them. See, instead of having 3 people under account payable, we've assessed it, we look at the volume of transactions. 2 people can do it with a bit of this level of automation that you put in place. So we help them look where they are and then give recommendations as to how they can move from where they are to what they can do differently. People want to develop accounting policies and procedures manual. They reach out to us to help them develop it. Somebody is trying to get listed on the stock exchange. It's called IPO readiness support. We provide those services to them as well. So there are lots of things. Accounts clean up, yes. Sometimes organizations have, especially when they start as owner managed businesses, they're not keeping the records well. We bring us in to help them do a cleanup, help them prepare, a general ledger cleanup, general ledger reconciliation, prepare a restated financial statements from there, pre and post deal financial reporting support. We do diagnostic. We do lots of things that typical account department do. Sometimes we help clients even come up with JD for the ideal finance function, from CFO level to the entry level. We come up with a new organogram for them and say this is what fits you in line with what leading guys are doing. These are the JDs, these are the KPIs that you set. Sometimes you then do training, do lots of training on different issues or different areas within accounting services.
Yeah, that's a very interesting job function. It sounds very interesting, but they used to say that everything looks interesting from outside and the inside needs to be chaotic.
All right.
Okay, so the next question is, so you're a senior manager, right? And you're now responsible for developing junior staff. So what's the most common gap you see in young accountants coming into the profession today?
I think shortcuts. Lots of people like shortcuts. The lazy way around. And shortcut not necessarily meaning being a smart way to do it. They just want to coast. People just want to coast. They don't want to put in the hours. Like we say it at the office. People don't want to put in the hours. They just want to go to ChatGPT, ask the question on ChatGPT and then dump it in your report for you and send it to you. So I see a lot of people misusing AI, in getting their reports out. AI is an enabler. AI is a support. It's not a replacement of your brain. It's not a replacement of what's original from you. And the reality is that because all of us use AI these days, when you see something, you know that this is AI. You are able to tell easily that this is AI, guy. There was no input from you in this sense. So people should just be careful on how they use AI in aiding their work. AI is, like I mentioned, is an enabler. It's supposed to make you work faster. It's supposed to make you work a bit easier. But then we still need you. If it's all about AI, then we don't need to employ people. We just need to get a robot and then run the chat requests and then get your answers. But of course, you will not be able to get the real touch that you need. You want to develop a report, or you have your inputs, you've written out the report, you just need AI to help you refine maybe the way you have worded it, to help you to summarize it a bit more. Or because you want to make a presentation, you need a talking guide. You already developed a presentation, you want AI to come up with a talking guide for you and all that. So yeah, those are the things that I've seen, in Summit today. Young guys who just wants to coast, who just wants to Netflix and chill, like we say it. So yes, you can Netflix and chill. Yes, you should enjoy. Nobody has to suffer for anything, but you must put in the hours. Nobody has achieved success today without putting in the hours. Trust me. You just need to put in the hours. Spend time, making research, look at what has been done before, look at what other guys are doing, see how you can replicate that, see how that applies to your current client or your current engagement. On Excel today, it's Copilot and it's doing a lot of things on Copilot on Excel for you. You can ask those questions, when you're putting the data, I want to achieve this, how can you help me achieve that? So these are the things that you should use the AI for. But then it's important that you don't allow it to be replacement. Because if you realize that AI is what's giving us the numbers from you, then we don't need you. We'll just get the AI to do it for us. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So I have a question that is not here. So do you think there's if people should enter any as a graduate trainee, as a chartered accountant, right? Do you think there's a gap? Like, okay, you're already a chartered accountant. Does that show in their work? Just like, I don't know why.
Yes. If he has a way of showing, once you join the firm, and especially on technical accounting questions or technical accounting engagements, you're already on a pedestal, and those things are not new to you. A number of other areas may be new to you, but you can begin to carve your niche. Say, at least this one that I know, everybody will know that I know it very well. So they're asking questions around implementation of IFRS 16, implementation of IFRS 17 or 18 or 9 or what have you. You can respond, even if it is the theoretical way to respond to. You may not be able to talk practically if you don't have that practical experience, but you'll be able to give instance. You will not be blank when they're asking questions on those areas. So yes, being a chartered accountant can help. It's not the only thing that helps. People that are not chartered too, they can be smart. You've done accounting in school too. You're probably writing the account, just not chartered yet. If you are really smart about it, about the accounting courses and what have you, it has a way that you show. We've had people who did engineering and come to accounting advisory, in KPMG, and they are doing well, but you will still see the difference. They could struggle a bit when they just come in. Say, what is this debit and credit we are talking about? What is this assets and liability, and what are they? They may not be able to get it, but because apologies to science non-science students. I'm a non-science student. Well, engineering students, when they come in the firm and they're writing ICANN, they even pass it better or quicker than those that are in accounting. I don't know, maybe because of the fear they have that I don't know this accounting, I don't know jack about it. So I read it pali to pali. But accounting graduates, they'll just be coasting with this. This is what we did in school until I can jam them first time and second time before they sit up and say, hey, this. But I've seen engineering students go stainless. I've seen accounting students go stainless, but if I compare, I think I've seen more science students go stainless than non-accounting students in the place of work because of maybe their background, maybe the way science students have been wired, I don't know, or maybe because accounting students feel it's just what we've done in school before and they just coast on it. So yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, so we know that Big Four, when everybody hears Big Four, yes, demanding, it's toxic, it's stressful. So like, how do you maintain performance and well-being at the same time? And what advice do you have for people that are just starting out in any of the Big Four?
Okay. I will not lie that it's easy. Trust me. I will not lie that it's easy. It's, like I said, you hear me say a lot of putting the hours. It's demanding, but then, like I said, because of good use of AI, you could work smarter, you could work better, you could work a bit easier. But you still realize that you are just probably saving a few hours if you are not using the AI, but the hours will still be there. You still need to do the work.
Yeah.
And when they say Big Four is demanding, it's not we that is causing the demand, though. It's the clients, it's the people in the industry that's making us look like we walk on waters. And I'll give a very recent example. This month, this is May 17th. Yes, last upper Tuesday, not this Tuesday, this was last week Tuesday, a client's finance controller, a very big client that I've been trying to get something out of, said was coming to the office. He came to our office with about 2 of his team members and then talked about what he wanted us to come with a concept note or something for his organization, said a lot of things, spent, okay, we'll give it to you. You should be able to do it in the concept note in about a week plus or 2 weeks plus. And he said, okay, no problem, that we should take our time. He's not rushing us, but he needs to present it to his board by next week Tuesday. But he's not rushing us, but he needs to present to his board by next week Tuesday. And in presenting to his board by next week Tuesday means that he should see something by this weekend so that he can use that thing to then ask for time. So that when they put it in the agenda for that next week Tuesday. So it means that this is Tuesday. I want you to see it by weekend, but take your time. I'm not rushing you, but he wants to see it by. This is something that we said we wanted to do in 2 weeks. He said, no problem. If you think you cannot get it done by this weekend, I can always ask ChatGPT. I mean, that's what everyone is asking today. Ask ChatGPT to give me the concept notes. You know what? You know what the client is telling you there and then. This was a Tuesday. He's saying that he wants it by weekend. Invariably, he wants it by Friday. Something that should not take me less than 1 week. Normally, because I have other things that I'm doing that I had to do. But then we had to. But I remember that thought. I have the training at another client place. But if I even begin to translate or transfer the request, before that will send me the first draft, that it will now not meet up the expectation, and I'll go back. I just took the work up myself. And on Friday night around 10 p.m., we did the final review and we sent it to the clients. On Saturday, the client has responded. I realized what he saw about 80%, but we want to do a meeting on Monday. A number of areas we wanted us to update on. We had that meeting on Monday, and they were able to send the updated version to him on Tuesday. I know that management meeting was not happening that Tuesday, but he wanted to also, maybe it was going to happen on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, but he needed to push in the demand earlier so that he can get it earlier. Just like as he got it, he needed to make update and all that. So most times it's really coming from clients. If I was not in that meeting, I would have been angry that why did my partner go and agree a deadline that didn't make sense, because it meant that I had to work my ass out on Wednesday throughout, on Thursday after the training in fact, because of that thing, to be honest, I couldn't fast on Thursday. I said this Thursday, I'm going to take a training for about 5 hours and I'm going to continue this work. I don't think I will have the energy to do it if I fast. So I busted Tatawa on that Thursday, and throughout Friday, when it was like 1 o'clock, I jumped to pay Juma, came back, continued the work and all that. So because I needed to get it out. So I would have been angry that my partner had to go and sign a deadline that didn't make any sense. But I was right all along. So yeah. Then how do you then balance it with yes, the demand, how do you balance it and ensure that you don't just lose all your youthful age to do work and slides and deliverables to your clients? It's also there are also times where it's not as hectic. Even if you're in audit, there's downtime, there's non-peak period. Take your vacation. I don't like people take vacation 2 days, 3 days. I do like 2 weeks stretch to go and rest. Some weekends, this weekend I'm not going to any party. I just want to sleep. Just take some time off to ensure that you're able to balance it. Because if you don't take some time off, it may be difficult for you to begin to demonstrate that same level of energy on and on and on. Because nobody will remember that I sent in something 10 p.m. on Friday. By Monday, everyone wants me to be up and grateful, like we say, and energetic, coming to work and doing the work again. So yeah, so find way to balance it. Luckily, where I work, we also shut down for the year in December. Luckily, I'm not in audit, I'm in advisory. We shut down. They expect you to go and use those 2 weeks to, refresh yourself. And they don't take it out of your personal leave. It's just the firm is just that's when you the 2 weeks. Come back in January, refresh and all that. So, and we are still quite young, so this is the time to grind, right? So that you can enjoy.
Okay,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much, Mr. Taiwo. We'll be able to ask the final question because time is running and we still have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
ask
I'll just plug in my ears and I'll still wait here.
No problem. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move to Samayo Salami. Okay, so I remember the first time I met Mr. Mayo, I had an interview with him and he told me that, oh yeah, he studied accounting in Babcock, then he did ICANN, then he went for masters in accounting and finance. And I was like, okay, and now you're doing financial advisory. So how did you make that transition? Right? Like what did you do that made you realize that, oh yeah, I wanted to find. I know you actually answered it before. You said your mentors, that the person I did accounting on the Babcock, people that just joined. Just can you say it again so that you will know why you left accounting for finance?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Salemat. I wouldn't say that accounting and finance are different. To be honest with you, I'll put them together. The way I see it is that if you want to be a good finance professional, start off with accounting. I think is the best thing that you can ever do. So I've seen some instances where people do banking and finance, and there's one thing that accounting does for you. It makes you to understand the 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 money of the business, if I should use that word. You want to understand how money flows into the business. If you take a cash flow statement, for example, you understand how the business is generating cash in terms of its operations. You understand from his other activities, the investing activities, how he's able to invest and also get returns on his investments. And you also understand how the business is able to finance his working capital and finance any other thing he intends to do, his expansion. All that I have said, to be honest, is it's just your cash flow statements, and it's just basically understanding of accounting. You having that basic understanding just helps you to now take it a step further to say, let me now do some financing. Finance, in my own opinion, and I know we have some finance gurus, we have the CFAs in the house here, it's all about, if I want to do this, making assumptions, if I want to do this, how do I make it happen to ensure it happen, in getting to where I want to go to, right? So for me, I would say that I didn't really drop accounting. Truth be told, I had never done any posting in my entire life. I've never worked as a management accountant. I had never done debit and credit, but I still feel like I do it in my day-to-day activity. Take, for example, if I'm doing a deal, my work is largely buying and selling of companies. I've done a lot of M&A activities. During the banking consolidation, I was involved in a number of them, and also a number of deals. But one thing about deals is that you need to do something we call due diligence. A due diligence is, so you have a financial due diligence, understanding the financial performance and the financial position of the target assets or the target company you want to buy. You are not able to do that if you don't have solid accounting background. And this accounting background also goes back to your understanding of your accounting principles, understanding of your standards, IFRS, and everything. Because you want to ensure that the target company is preparing its books according to generally accepted practices and principles based on other standards as the cases. So you are unable to estimate the value of a company if you're unable to understand the accounting treatment of how things are being done, right? So I would say everything links from accounting to finance to corporate finance to valuation. Everything is in sync. The question is, in this value chain, if I use the word value chain, where do you want to specialize in? Some want to specialize as a management or cost accountant. Some wants to specialize as an audit. Some wants to specialize into business valuation. Some want to specialize into feasibility study or restructuring or strategy, as the case is. So you need to be able to estimate or look within yourself and say, in this value chain, which is more interesting to you, and what resource or tools do I need to deepen my knowledge in that space. So for me, I found accounting slash audit slightly a bit monotonous, right? Slightly. And I felt I wanted to do something. I don't know why you're laughing, Alimat. I wanted to do something different, totally different, right? And I think for me, that was where it occurred to me that I wanted to do finance. And also, um, experience also matters. My internship, I also interned in one of the big fours during my Babcock days. So in my 4 years in as undergrad, I think it was only 1 year that I actually went out to do an internship, and I did it in one of the big fours. And that's when I knew for sure that I was not going to do audits because I was in the audit team, right? And I like, this is not what I want. Because at the end of the day, it was like, okay, I like this, you do this, fine. Is it there, fine? Is it there, fine? But I like, no, I want to challenge the assumptions. That's for me. I want to challenge the assumptions. So for me, that's why I knew that, yeah, that was my own calling, right? That finance was the way. And on a softer note, what also made me pick M&A, there was a movie that I watched, very interesting. I won't mention the name of the movie, but in that movie, the main character was into buying and selling of companies. And I told myself, I've always wanted to contribute back to the society. How can I do it in a professional way? And how can I link it to the finance I want to do? And what happened was this particular individual buys moribund companies. These are companies that are dead, turns them around, does a lot of restructuring and turnaround, bring in the best experts, and makes it one of the big four companies you have in the world. And the interesting kicker is he now begins to sell them, and create value. But in the process, you've generated value for not just the company, but you've created employment and things like that. So for me, that was very exciting and that was very interesting. I said, this is something I would like to do. Right. So that is how I moved from accounting and found myself in finance.
Okay. Thank you very much for that response. I was laughing because normally on Twitter, at least once in 3 months, you always drag accounting people, insulting that accounting and auditing is very monotonous and boring. That's why I was laughing because I know on Twitter they say it almost every time that it's a very boring place to be. And even the finance people usually say they don't like accounting. Accounting is very boring. The finance
No,
is
but
practices.
to give credit to, no, not to say that accounting is 100% boring, but trust me, the best of the best firms are those that have the best accountants. You can't be a CFO without having good, solid accounting and audit experience. You may need a blend of finance, but you need to understand the rudiments of your business, if I should put it that way, right? So, yes, I think for all of us, or for me personally, it's just about the dynamism that comes with moving a step further, which takes you to finance, right? But accounting is core. You cannot build a career without having that accounting experience. I'm very happy with the mentorship I had, which is actually my father, who happened to be on the school at some point in time, but left briefly, right? So he has always been my number one mentor, right? And he had always said, Maiwa, start with ATS. And luckily for me, I was one of the very few people that graduated graduated chartered before my BSc, right? And it was one of the best decisions that I was happy to make. Like Idris also mentioned, in my own time, one of the reasons why I joined Deal Advisor at KPMG was because I was already chartered before joining at that time. So when Idris was talking, I just could hear myself in all that I was saying, because in my interviews was very similar with his. Who are those that are chartered? I raised up my hand and I skipped a lot of steps. So for those that are on the call, if you had the opportunity of being chartered before your BSc, if you're still in your undergraduate, I would really recommend that you do it. It's not just because of that, it also helps you in your normal BSc. I was able to graduate to the first class. By the way, I'm not a bookworm. My first class was 4.5 on the dot, on the dot. So that tells you that I worked hard for it. But because of my ATS and my professional exams, I realized that I was repeating the same thing in my BSc. So it now became a walkover, right? But trust me, if you're able to do it, just do it. If you're in your NYC days, also do it. Then you'll see the big advantage. For the last, I think since 2011, 2012, I've not really had the opportunity of going back to a school setting until 2 years ago, when I told myself, hey, enough of the work, I need to go back to school, right? And I did my master's and my MBA and things like that. So you being able to do your professional exams gives you clarity to focus on other aspects of your work. And you won't be able to, you won't need to juggle work and professional exams at the same time. You just have that clarity to pick one at a time. So that's it largely for me.
Thank you very much for that response. Okay, so the next question, what does a strong finance professional look like beyond the numbers, and what soft skills helps in the industry?
For me?
Yes, you.
Oh, okay. Soft skills, soft skills, soft skills. I think people have told me I have got good interpersonal skill. I think that really helps me. You being able to connect with people is not largely, I can see if you're not yet. It's not largely the technical skill. I think you've been able to touch base with people from time to time, being able to understand people at different points in that of their career, and being able to provide the currently, as my role in my office is less technical, is more of business development, is more of leadership as well. And I think all of these are quite important while you grow. If you're somebody, I'm an introvert, but I'm not sure everybody would believe that. I'm a big introvert.
I don't
No, no,
believe
no, no.
that.
I'm a big introvert. But once I find myself in my circle, you see me everywhere. So I think for me is trying to understand your person, trying to understand where you want to go, and trying to use the relationship and the resources around you to get where you want to go to. I think for me, that is what has been working for me as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Then the last question before we move to Mr. Idris is that for someone who wants to go into IB or M&A or financial advisory, where would you tell them to start?
Okay, where to start? Where to start? I don't think there's any hard and fast rule about this, to be honest. I've seen people starting off career in IB firms. I've seen people start off career in the bank. I've seen people start off careers in any other profession, right? Even in the Big Fours, right? Is one I hear Big Four is one of the best places to start. And I won't say no, right? I started my career there. I think a number of us did. The question is, how long do you want to spend in those areas, and what are the things you need to do to move very quickly, right? So for me, I did about 8 years with the Big Four. I got to a manager role, and I told myself, I've learned some things and some skills, but what else do I need to learn that I was not getting from my current, my current place? So for me, in this advisory, I did a lot of equity related work. I was raising PE funds, but I wanted to do more in project finance. I wanted to do more of debt. So I went to the bank. I went to bank. I went to commercial banking. I also went to investment banking as well. So because I want to have a good balance of both private equity and as well as project finance and debt management at the end of the day. So it all depends on what you want to do, right? And that will now determine how to start your career. Some people know for sure they want to be bankers. Please start in bank, but don't do. I will also advise that whenever you find yourself, don't limit yourself in that role. Learn from other places. And that was something someone told me. I wish I learned very quickly. So in investment banking, I was doing project finance. And the person said, as you're learning project finance, learn capital markets as well. I didn't, but I wish I did, to be honest. Because right now, I am building a team, and my team is corporate finance, and I want to develop a new team in capital markets. But I see that I need to bring somebody in that space. If I did the work, I won't have to bring that person. I'll continue to be the high flyer in my team. So wherever you find yourself, don't limit yourself in that work that you're doing, but also learn across board as well.
Okay, thank you
Thanks.
very much, Mr. Mayowa. Thank you so much for answering all our
Thank
questions.
you.
So we'll move to Mr. Idris Ayinde for his own personalized questions. Okay, so for Mr. Idris, I know that he recently became a fellow, I think it was 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, of ICANN. I think your ceremony was it 2 3 weeks ago?
I wasn't there. It was
Oh,
end of
okay.
April there, but yeah.
I think the first time I knew I came across you on Twitter, it was Idris Ayinde ACA. I remember when I discussed with my friend that why would this man do ICANN and jump to CFA? What did he see in finance that I said, okay, I want to go into CFA. So now you hold both an ICANN qualification and a CFA charter. They are two very different credentials. So why did you pursue both and how do they complement each other in your work?
Yes. So I started off my career with accounting advisory, which largely you would need an ICANN for. At some point, I moved a bit into quantitative finance. That is like financial instrument accounting, valuations. I did some bit of capital market accounting as well. I've done a bit of like treasury, which includes like risk management. So across like at some point in my career, I mean at the point when I took the CFA, honestly it was one, I
Mm.
was moving into a bit more broader finance type of role, even though I was in consulting. And and honestly, I had time to do the exam at that point in time. So why not just take it? So, early on in your career, as Myra mentioned, like if you can do it before school, yes. I was still early in my career, even though it was hell, taking CFA exam and working in Big Four. But then I think if you say I should come and do that now, I can't do that. I never. I don't think I can do that now, but I could do that at that point in time. So it was a qualification which was helpful, for me at that point in time, because of what I was pivoting in at that point in my career, essentially. I think that was basically it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So for the next question, you now lead technical accounting for a global fintech in London. So for a young Nigerian accountant who dreams of working internationally, so what's the realistic roadmap to get there?
Yes, whether I'm young, I will leave that for people to comment. So, I think for me, it's having a long-term goal, and it started off from a lot of people might be surprised, but I knew what I wanted to do in my final year at the university. Okay, so my final year project was the adoption of IFRS in Nigeria at that point in time, and it was like in 2012. But I started my project in 2011. I think Nigeria adopted IFRS in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. But my project in 2011, when I was choosing, some other people would just go to the library, choose an old topic, and then, just repackage it and submit. But I wanted something quite impactful, something that is meaningful for me as a person. So my project was, on the adoption of IFRS in Nigeria at that point in time. So I knew I'm quite technical, I'm quite thorough. I like numbers as well. So I knew what I wanted to do would be something that would balance that technical depth for me, that researching skill for me, and the love for numbers. And I knew at that point that something around like accounting advisory would be what I wanted to do. Like I knew I wouldn't like audit. Well, first of all, I hate the course, like even in the university, but I just had to do it and pass. In my other courses, I would have A. Audit, I had like B all through. If I had the final exam, there was one question I thought I'd finish answering. It was when I finished the exam, I thought I didn't answer the question because I'd written so much on the other part. So it was something, the theoretical part, I don't like it, but I speak with some people. Um, Thankfully, there was the internet in school those days, so I do have access to the internet, so I could read a little bit of what's even about this guy. So I knew, okay, this wouldn't be something for me. So I sort of have an idea of what I wanted to do. And during my final year project, I was being asked, what would you like to do? I told them, oh, I would like to do accounting research in a big four firm. I actually told my the people that were interviewing me in my project because they were sort of like, oh, why are you doing IFRS? And they said, oh, this is what I would like to do um after after like my project. And I went back to school at some point and one of my lecturers actually mentioned that, do you actually remember you mentioned this? I was like, I remember because that was what I wanted to do. And it was at that point in time that I knew for what I want to do, I need to work in a global firm. So it was like a big four or never for me. So uh, so as I was doing my NYSC, I was, interviewing with firm. And again, at that point, it was even like KPMG or never. Maybe because of like a very nice building. But they served me a very good breakfast, which I talk about it every now and then. But again, that was a lesson for me to like widen my option at some point in time. So because I had like some opportunity to work elsewhere. Kuya is laughing because I moan about it quite a lot. I had an opportunity to go and take like some job that would pay me, but it wasn't a big four job. But I thought that would distract me from like my ICANN exams or getting into a big four. So I was quite focused, and eventually the Deloitte one landed miraculously in the way it did, and that was the starting point of my career. Now, being in Deloitte, and I must say, like when I was writing my project, I sent an email and I got like a package from the IASB, the accounting body that writes accounting standards. So that I wasn't just like I knew exactly what I was working on and how to get there. So I got like some materials from the IASB when I was writing my final project in university as well. Because I was researching on IFRS and somehow something landed, a package landed for me from the ISB. So working in a big four when I was at Deloitte, I do interact with like some other colleagues elsewhere, and the next goal for me is that okay, I need to take my game a bit notch higher. And for me, what that means is that I need to see that the heart of where IFRS is determined, and London is where IFRS is determined. So when I was at Deloitte, I was already looking at opportunity to go and work in London. So I interviewed for a few roles in Deloitte, but I was told, oh, you're not that experienced yet. Right. And then I moved to PwC where I got a little bit more experience, particularly on IFRS 9, and that opened the way for me to move into London. Again, my movement wasn't by accident. It was for specific purpose. So And that's why during all this period, a lot of people were doing like, the Canada PRs and some other stuff. I was not doing any of that because I knew, again, it's London or nowhere else because I knew I wanted to go to London. And that's why I moved to London. And I can say that it was worth it because what would normally happen is that most of the most of the things that happen globally, particularly around IFRS, in terms of development, I always say that the big boys will have decided what happens, and then the rest of the world just eat the crumbs. And what happened, and that's exactly what happened, is that for most of the accounting standard, the big four firm in London, particularly, they usually have like a forum where we go and discuss. This is our view. This is what we think this accounting should be, and it's almost like, oh, they would agree. Okay, this is a general accounting stuff, and then they push that to the ISB, and then before you know, like the ISB would maybe make an update to a standard, or they incorporate that into stuff. IFRS 9 currently has like an ongoing project that it has been rejected like not once or twice. I mean, off the record, the reason why that thing is being delayed is because like most of the big four firms in the country, they have like a very, very strong opinion about that thing, and that's why it's taken the ISB a long time. I mean, there are like some big banks as well or financial institutions that are based in the UK as well that influence some of those things. So if you think about the accounting firms, the big banks or institutions that influence some of most of all those accounting decisions, a lot of them are in London. In fact, the ISB office is in Canary Wharf. Most of those banks in Canary Wharf, we just go out of your office and you enter the ISB and tell, you guys, this is what we want. And so it's more like that's where most of the things around that aspect of accounting happen. And I had my eyes set on it from that point in time. So that was how that goal actually, materialized. But in terms of how do you get there, it's generally from experiences, you need to have a you need to have a relevant experience that transcends beyond borders, right? You don't want to be a local accounting person, all right? As long as you want to follow what's going on locally, you also want to have this view in terms of what's applicable globally as well. And I think that was what helped me to get like the roles I got when I first moved to the UK with KPMG in the UK at that point in time. I was able to like interact with the interviewers. I was able to like discuss, the questions they were asking me from a practical point of view and what is applicable globally as well. And that helped me with that work. So thing is you want to build your skill and experience, to get the experience that you can always, take that is always, applicable globally as well. It's something that I think has worked for me um over time.
Okay, thank you very much. So, like, I have a question that is off this. You work in Canary Wharf, right?
So yeah, I worked in Canary Wharf for like 6 years, but now
Okay.
it's just I mean I'm not far from Canary Wharf
Okay,
anyway.
because you're
Yes.
always defending the place. I think there was one time somebody tweeted that Canary Wharf is not fine. Then you came. I think you're on break on Twitter. Then you came 2 weeks after saying that. Who is this person that is shaming Canary Wharf? Okay, so the last question we have is what opportunities exist in accounting that most students and young professionals have not even considered?
Yes, so there are a lot of opportunities, and what you find is that people are always restricted to the mainstream one. If you ask people that may be writing ICANN, for example, or if you ask them what they want to do, they'll probably just say audit or tax. Like that's like the most two common one. But there are a lot of opportunities within that, accounting or finance. My wife, leads deal M&A transactions or something like corporate finance at Anderson, right? What I do currently, even though I mean, I don't do like debit and credit like posting stuff, but what I do is essentially the way businesses have lawyers, right? That's similar way what technical accounting is. Essentially, I would go through like the various accounting standard and find a way to provide accounting advice to my business. There are instances where some of those things are like really gray area where there's a lot of judgment and opportunities for you to take a decision or side on. That's where And that's the aspect of my work that I enjoy, particularly where, there's that room for you to what I call flex your muscle. There was like recent conversation at work with my auditors, and the impact of a transaction was going to lead to like a $10 million impact on the financial statement. The point is they weren't sure as well, because one, I asked them, okay, point me to exactly where in your book or in the accounting standard that says this is what you should do. And they couldn't do that. But luckily for me, like one of the other firms have said, well, this is our view. And the point is that in instances where it's something as great as that, being able to help your business to navigate some of those things and maybe save cost as well, is one interesting aspect of like what I do. So for some other people, like accounting is broad, and for some specific role, you probably need a background in some other aspect before you can jump there. For example, you probably wouldn't be able to do a lot of technical accounting if you don't have like financial reporting experience. I've prepared financial statement before during my time at Deloitte. I've seen like end to end of audit. I've supported in some of things on audit. So some of all those things build you for some roles. So you need to identify in terms of what aspect of the opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities outside like the mainstream one. You just need to decide in terms of what you do. In fact, now working in like a big company in finance in-house, my company has close to like 300 people within finance, right? And not every one of those people do debits and credit. In fact, there are a lot of people that do way more than debits and credit, you know. And we also within finance, there's finance transformation, right? There is like, some aspect of procurement within finance. There is the internal audit aspect of finance. There is treasury within finance. There is what we call like product control, which is just looking at some specific aspect of balance sheet. You've got like financial control, which people responsible like maybe financial statement. So within like the accounting of finance itself, there's a lot of opportunities. You just need to identify in terms of like, what sort of like career path do I want to follow, and then clearly navigate your path through it. Obviously, some of those ones might require that you go through some route before, and then before you get to what you want to do. But one thing that is quite common is a lot of people would have maybe done some bit of like some audit or some facts or some of those other mainstream one, and then before they pivot into what they want to do eventually.
Okay, I get that. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we've come to the end of the panel session, and it's time for questions, right? So if you have any questions, please, you can signify by raising your hand. But before we go to the question and answer this thing, we have, so NGM, National Geriat Mentorship, is turning 10 this year. And every year, I think 5 years ago, we started the NGM conference, if I'm not mistaken. So somebody from the conference team is coming to talk to us for like 2 minutes just to tell us one or two things. We have, her name is Aisha Labake. Okay, please, you have the floor now.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. Walaikum salam. Thank you for having me. So, good day, everyone. My name is Onigbosu Aisha Labake, and I'm here on behalf of the NGM Conference 5.0 team. So, for context, NGM itself is a platform for youth and early or middle life young professionals. So it's a platform giving for mentorship, employment opportunities, and other opportunities, just like this session, to talk to us and to give us real life experiences. We have talks around faith, career, education, and all of that. So one of our flagship events is the NGM conferences. So over the years, we have had NGM conference 1.0 to 4.0, and this year we are hosting the NGM conference 5.0, and it's going to happen in October. And I just want to say this quickly: if you have been seeing the NGM conference 5.0 flyers online and you're still telling yourself, I'll register later or I'll apply another time, well, I'm here to say that this is your sign to stop waiting, because this year's conference is not one of those events you hear about after it's over and you move on from. No, it's the kind of event people attend and live with opportunities, connections, exposures, confidence, new ideas and experiences they've never expected. So the NGM Conference 5.0 is bringing together ambitious young people, creatives, entrepreneurs, innovators, business owners, and people who are serious about growth and visibility, basically. So the atmosphere, the conversations, the networking, the competition, the energy, everything is intentionally designed to create impact. So, and let me be very honest, people who move early are usually the ones who benefit the most. So currently, we are running a 25% discount on our tickets. So students get to get their tickets for 7,500 instead of 10,000, and graduates or professionals get to get their tickets for 10,000 instead of 11,000 to 15. So aside this, we also have amazing opportunities and competitions that one can apply for. The first is the SME pitch competitions for our CEOs in the house and business owners in the house. So it's for our young entrepreneurs and business owners who are ready to showcase their businesses or business ideas in front of people who matter. So just imagine your business getting that visibility, that support, recognition, simply because you decided to take one bold step and apply. So this year, it's how we have a prize, a huge amount of money attached to it, and that's a share of 20 million naira, amongst other amazing rewards. They were not just giving you a share of 20 million, we're giving you mentorship, we're giving you a lot of things to once you win the competition. So aside that, let's say you don't have businesses or you don't have business idea, okay, this is for the innovators, the thinkers. So we have the Dare Nigeria Challenge, and this is basically for creatives, for talented young people who know they have something special to offer. That idea you have been writing down in your notebook, that you have been thinking about, this idea can solve a problem, can bring a solution. So the Dare Nigeria Challenge is for you, and this is your chance to be seen, heard, and remembered, because we also have a prize and other amazing rewards attached to this, and this comes with a share of 10 million naira too as well. So you don't want us to keep our 20 million and 10 million, right? So we want all of us to take this opportunity to apply for these competitions. And trust me, when winners start emerging and people start sharing their testimonies, when opportunities start coming up from this conference, you don't want to be part of those people that are saying, and I saw the flyer, and I wanted to apply, I was planning to buy my ticket. You don't want that to happen, and by then it will already be too late. So you have to wait for conference 6.0, inshallah. So this basically this conference is for people who are ready to stop sitting on their potential and actually stepping into opportunities. And opportunities don't always come twice looking the same way. It is once, and once you grab with that once, you can make it big from there. So if you have been waiting for a sign to apply or to get your tickets, this is it. So apply for the competitions, get your tickets, tell your friends and families that you think would really love to benefit from this, and also be in the room. If you're the type that you don't have any businesses, you don't have ideas, but you want to experience both in person, get your tickets and come and see the cooking that I've done for you. Let me put it that way. So I just want to leave where NGM Conference 5.0 is definitely going to be one of those experiences you love to experience in person, and it will be something people will talk about long after it is over, and you deserve to be part of it. So I look forward to seeing every one of us at the NGM Conference 5.0, and also let's apply for the competitions as well. So we're giving it to our people, and it's from our people too. So thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you very much, Aisha, for the announcement. Okay, we got that, so people should please come and apply so that you can win money for your business. Okay, so we have 2 questions on the chat box. Oh, wait, before that, Mr. Mayowa has to leave. He has somewhere to be, so let us thank him for being here and for answering our questions. You can just like can react. Just drop emojis and react. And Mr. Paiva, thank you so much for accepting my invitation. It was last minute, but but
Thank you for having me.
yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope I've been able to provide impact as well. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Okay, now let's move to our question. So Abdurrahman Lukman asked that, I think it's from Mr. Taiwo, that Mr. Taiwo talked about taking ample time to leave to reset and recharge properly. What do we do as young professionals that are still writing professional exams and most time take our leaves to prepare for exams? What do you advise? So any facilitator can respond. Maybe Mr. Taiwo, then Mr. Idris Ayinde can now respond to. Mr. Taiwo. Can you hear us?
I can take the question if it's not available.
Mr.
That's
Idris.
okay.
Okay.
So I mean, see,
Okay,
okay, sorry, go
okay,
on.
you can take it. You can
Sorry,
take
go
it. You
on.
can take it.
Go on.
Okay. If I get the question clearly, you mentioned that you are already writing ICANN and then you are studying for exam. Where do you get time to study for what again?
No, he said, what do we do as young professionals that are still writing these exams and most times take our leaves to prepare for the exam? Like, okay, saying you told us to rest, right? But he's saying that it's time for resting, it's time for reading for his exams.
Okay.
So
Okay. You are still young, so your best is little. But then actually fair. When you're writing a goal, when you get to school, it does not mean that immediately the semester has started on a full scale. You just need about 8 hours quality sleep, max 2 days, a 16 hours quality sleep, and your body is refreshed. It doesn't mean that you need one full week to rest. And in between, when you are less peak period in school after your exams, take yourself out. Some of the things that I learned in queuing and in self motivation is that you set a target for yourself, and then once you have achieved that target, you spoil yourself. You can say that I'm able to do this X Y Z, and I write the exam, and I think I'm confident that I'll pass. I'll go watch a movie, I'll go eat out, or I'll do this, I'll do that. Just motivate yourself with a particular gift, and then if it's to go 2 days, you know, vacation somewhere, if you have the money, just go to any place that you can enjoy yourself. And 1 2 days rest will give you back the energy that you lost. Trust me. But then you just can then please chip in.
Yeah, I can add to that. So, as Tara mentioned, you're still young. And I mentioned in terms of my own exam, the first 3 or 4 years of my career, most of my holidays were my annual leave were spent writing exams, right? Except for like maybe the other holidays outside, that period that I spent with, with families, as well. But largely, they were to try and take those exams, and that's the kind of like the sacrifice that you'd have to make, right? And again, you're still quite young. We're not asking you to work yourself to death, but again, that's the time where you probably have the energy to do that as well. But in between those moments as well, there is no harm in taking, some time off. Like one day to rest would not kill you. And like personally, even to I mean, after that point in time, I no longer write exams, so my leaves are mostly for me to refresh and take some time back. And I choose how I want to do that. Maybe like traveling or doing some other things as well. And the weekend sleep, it can be underrated, right? This week I was like quite busy because I had like lots of stuff that I was working on. So what would normally happen? The good thing is that Subi in the UK is like around 3 a.m. So I just wake up, pray Subi, and I've been sleeping. And then I'm confessing that the reason I was slightly late was because I was actually sleeping. So I was sleeping. I had an alarm set for 11:30. I was like, let me relax a little bit, and then it was 12. I had to jump up to the session. But now, like, I feel like really, really refreshed. Like I'm ready for the week. So you can't really underrate those, prolonged long hours of sleep as well. So always put that into your schedule, and it helps you to just re-energize you. And you said that's the way we've been designed as humans. You need like proper rest to reset, and then to come back again.
Okay, so the next question, which is the last question here, the person said there is an individual with an interest in finance, but he got the following opportunities after graduation. One, a graduate role in an oil and gas company. Two, an MSc in finance, scholarship overseas, and also a tax analyst role in one of the big fours in Nigeria. Which option is the best to catch and why? I'm sorry, but this sounds like a question that you would typically ask Sir Jarvis on Twitter.
Yeah, and this type of question, I'm always wary of giving an advice here because there there could be some personal links to this as well, right? An MSc finance scholarship overseas, again, it depends on where to get it, where that is, right? Um, a lot of things at play in terms of what that MSc comes with. Do you get it? Graduate role in an honor gas, if it's a life-saving generational wealth kind of salary, it's a no-brainer. One of my mentees recently had something like that. I think person was in maybe one analyst role, and the person got this role in oil and gas. It was like I was saying, like, why are you even asking me that kind of question? It's a no-brainer. Do you get it? Because with that kind of role, you could ultimately pay for an MSc abroad at some point if you want to. You could work a couple of years and take like some time off and go for masters, and you will definitely be fine, in terms of from financial point of view as well. And some of those roles, offer you opportunity, and there's always like limits in terms of how you could drive your career in those places to still do the kind of finance that you want to do, but now with very, very good salary. So it always depends on like, and the oil and gas is, if it's a filling station, for example, oil and gas is brought. So, what type of oil and gas? What type of salary is it? The MSc. What type of MSc? In which country? What's the level of scholarship that you're getting, right? And then the tax analyst role as well. Where is it? Is it KPMG or Deloitte? I'll say you should go to Deloitte, or is it in like one small company as well? All right. So it depends on where exactly this is. So these questions is not something that can be, if this is a personal questions, the person can reach out to me, and maybe with more questions, it might be good to advise on which one to go for. But yeah, I can't say which one at this point.
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Taiwo,
I
do you
mean,
have
I've given my why as well, depend on what's applicable to each one anyway.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Taiwo, do you have anything to say on that, or you can just
Nothing to have. Keep this
okay.
open.
Okay. So we finally come to the end of the
I think there are
webinar.
2 more questions. I'm happy to stay on to
There are two
answer
more
them
questions on the chat. Yeah.
Oh, there are
if
2 more
that's fine.
questions. Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Taiwo mentioned how internship and visibility helped him so far. Please, I want to ask, is it proper for me to do an internship within the short period after my work? And what can you advise me to do, sir?
Okay. After why SSP after SSP, I
Yes.
think that depends on the place that you want to get the internship. I hope it's a place where you'll be able to build the skill set, and it's not you just packing papers and submitting documents that are used before. So it depends on the place. So I can say yes. But what I will advise, the advice that is ever given, is for you to go and begin to learn how to use Excel from basic to intermediate to expert level. Know how to use PowerPoint. Know how to infuse AI to all of this. Begin to learn how to use things like Power BI that's able to work with large amounts of data. Yeah, so I think skills, writing skills, presentation skills are quite important for you at this stage. But because I don't know where the internship is, if it's a place where it will afford you to use this thing that you are learning, then good. So it's 2 in 1. You're learning how to use Excel and then you're using it in real life office. Yeah. You know, it's interesting.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that answers the question. Not too much to add on that.
Okay, so for the next question, now that I'm qualified as an ACA, I really need advice on how to grow in my career. I have put in over 10 years in accounting, but I have limited technical skills in accounting. How do I scale up to financial reporting skills and also grow in my career?
I can take this one. So I mean, you can learn Excel online. You can learn financial modeling online. You could read accounting standards online, but most time your ability to really be grounded in those skills is if you have a life working experience. Maybe this is working somewhere where you would be doing those things consistently. That's really the way you can build up on those skills. And it depends on, what kind of setting or workplace you are. It might require that you need to step up and ask for opportunities. I've seen people where, maybe what they do before is like fix asset register, but they can, speak out to maybe join the financial reporting team of their company or even shadow them or understand like what they do as well. That's really the way I would normally advise people to scale up because, yeah, I've seen over time, like, I really don't think you can learn this thing theoretically and then when you're there, you need that sort of like life experience. My first sort of like, um, my experience, like practical financial statement consolidation experience, was when I was at Deloitte, and there was I think it was Deloitte support Dangote industry at that point in time, and there was time they were saying, "Oh, Dangote is at the airport, and the financial statement needs to be ready. He needs to sign it before he travel." I was sitting in the partner's office, and before I know the equity reconciliation that everybody have been struggling with, I balanced it under pressure because Dangote needs to sign that account that night. Right? You can't learn that kind of thing on the internet. That's just like you can never learn that kind of thing on the internet. Do you get it? So that's why I say like you need that practical workplace pressure-driven experience, for some kind of thing to sink. From that young word, like someone was in my team, I have someone that prepares the financial statement for the group and some other thing, and the person was battling with like some reconciliations within equity and some other things. I didn't prepare the financial statement last year. It was someone else. It was contracted out, and I just asked the person to show me their screen, and they were showing me. I was saying, "Can you do this?" The person was saying, "Oh, I just follow what I did," and before we know, we resolved it. And the person was like, "How did I do it?" I said, "Don't worry." But you just follow whatever I ask you because it comes with that kind of experience. You would normally know, okay, these are the things that would drive these things. You're able to troubleshoot. And most times that troubleshooting skills come from you being able to have troubleshooted, if that English exists, that kind of problem before, essentially. I think that would just be my advice.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Taiwo, do you have anything to say to that?
I don't think so. Just that the person should speak up at the space of work to ask for those opportunities. Opportunity not come to you. If people don't hear you speak, they don't know what you can offer. So while you are, upskilling yourself on the side, reading about the impact of the new standards, talk about it in places that matter so that they can say, oh, so you have this idea. So, okay, maybe you should join this thing. It's important. In addition to all those things I just have mentioned, speak out. Tell them that you are willing to do this. Make contributions during sessions. Don't go into meetings and you're only taking notes. I think you just mentioned at the beginning. Speak. Let them know what you've got. That's when people can actually, it's not written on your forehead. That's when people can actually know that you can offer this thing. Reality is that yes, the workplace is fast paced. Everybody wants things that can get done easily. People don't want team members that they'll be struggling with. It's something you say that you can do this, what they will know. So they'll probably just want to give you someone that's doing it, has been doing it year on year. But if you come and challenge the process and say, okay, or go and meet the guy that is doing that shadow, like you just mentioned, that can begin to put in the limelight and they can get the opportunities that you think you deserve. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we have one final question here that as a marketing student, what kind of professional course is advisable to apply for? Because many people see marketing as visibility of products and brands.
I don't know if you just want to take that. I'm blank about
Yeah,
professional
yeah,
courses in marketing.
honestly, I'm not sure as well. But I mean, maybe it's no longer called marketing, it's probably called sales now. Um, because I mean, I work in a fintech, and I know people do marketing, but I don't think they call it marketing. And it also depends on what aspect you're dealing with, right? There's an aspect of sales that involves like the actual pitch, talking to people. And for that one, it's often good you have an idea in terms of like the underlying business. So you probably want to understand like in what kind of sector are you looking at? and that means you might need to have an understanding of the kind of sector that you want to that you're selling for. As well. And then there's other aspect of like the PR aspect of it as well, which is like, brand designs and some other things as well. I think so it depends on which aspect of those things that you're looking to go. If it's around like the sales aspect, then you'll be thinking about courses that would enhance like your negotiation skills, your um your customer awareness kind of skills. How do you convince people to buy product, that kind of thing? If it's around like the PR aspect, you'll be looking at like a product this from a product design point of view, or some other like general like PR and some things like that. So it depends on exactly what you're trying to do, and then you can maybe look out for the specific aspect of maybe trading. That always like a lot of like trainings and stuff online, depending on what aspect that you're doing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So there are no other questions. So we've come to the end of this webinar. Thank you very much. I mean, two of our speakers have gone because they have somewhere to be for Mr. Idris and Mr. Taiwo. Thank you so much for showing up and for answering our call for this webinar. We appreciate it. NGM actually appreciates you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we've come to the end of this webinar. We are planning to do another one later, but not for accounting. We are going to another industry, I think next quarter, inshallah. But this is just for the accounting / finance, economics and advisory. So that's the end. Thank you. Thank you all for joining. We can now start leaving the call. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me as well, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you,
You
everyone.
too.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Mm.